So recently I've been playing two Mega Man games that I really never put all that much time into in the past. Those Mega Man games being Mega Man 4 and Mega Man in Base. Usually when I want to play a Mega Man game, I go and play a Mega Man game that I have played a bunch in the past and I can just kind of fly through the whole thing with no problem at all. Say Mega Man 2 or Mega Man X. I know the boss order in those games. I know all the boss's weaknesses. I kind of know the level design by heart, going into those levels. But going into Mega Man 4 and Mega Man in Base, I just it felt like as soon as I got to the character select screen, I wasn't exactly sure where to go first, which is kind of a foreign feeling to me now, because usually I usually just play Mega Man games that I've pretty much mastered at this point, which is like 2 and then Mega Man X and Mega Man 11. But it kind of reminded me just of how bad I used to be at Mega Man games and how bad everybody is at Mega Man games when they first play them. And I got this image in my mind of like a loop. So hold on, I'm gonna draw this for you. So here's the loop. It's a perfect circle. This is your first time starting this Mega Man game, and it's a really bumpy road. So just like how I was unfamiliar with what bosses to pick first, or what levels to pick first when I was going back to playing Mega Man 4 and Mega Man in Base, the first time you play a Mega Man game, you just have no idea what you're doing. You enter the character select screen and you just kind of have to play around with what you got. In Mega Man they have the thing where you can pick to fight the bosses in any order that you want. That was kind of the gimmick of the game at first. So first time through, you select a level. This is your first time playing the level, so the level design's really difficult. You don't know where the enemies are going to be placed, or a lot of times there's enemies that jump out of pits so that you jump over, and you can't expect that, because say you're trying to run through the level, you jump over the pit and then the enemy knocks you down into the pit. So you're gonna be struggling with all the level design and stuff. And then once you finally get to the end of the level and you start fighting the boss, you're probably gonna die, because the first time you fight the boss, you enter the room and he just goes he just starts jumping around and shooting at you, and you don't know what to expect. Now a big part of Mega Man is learning the boss's patterns and knowing how to defeat them. But your initial experience fighting the boss, you don't really have much time to figure that out. And say you died a couple times through the level on the way to the boss, you're probably going to game over. You're only given 3 chances after a game over before you get another game over. So maybe you go back into the level, you try to beat it, you know a little bit more of what to expect this time. Maybe you die to the boss again and you just decide against it, and you decide to play one of the other 8 stages that the game provides you at the beginning. You kind of repeat this pattern over and over until you find an easier boss, because usually Mega Man does have an easier boss for you to beat with just the pea shooter, the regular gun that you have. So by the end of your entire play session, you've probably beat only one boss so far, and you still have 7 more levels to beat. But this is where Mega Man gets you, because after beating a boss, you get their ability. You can swap out your weapon to one of the abilities that the boss was using in the boss fight. And this leaves you room to experiment with. So when you go back into the levels that you've already been struggling with, you have an extra tool at your disposal to help you progress. And a lot of times in Mega Man games, it feels like the easiest boss to fight leaves you a really awesome copy ability. So it makes it a lot of fun to play around with that copy ability. I say copy ability like it's Kirby. The first boss a lot of the times leaves you a really fun ability to play around with. And after getting this ability, you can, after you've experimented with this ability a little bit, you'll probably find the boss that's weak to this ability, and then get your second ability, beat your second boss, And this repeats until you get to the Wily stages, the end of the game, the last stages that you unlock after you beat the first 8 bosses. And Wily stages can be really frustrating, honestly, because you cannot save in between them, unless of course you're playing on the Legacy Collection or something and you just use save states, which that's what I did most of the time when playing through the first 6 Mega Man games for the first time. But yeah, the point is the first time through a Mega Man game is going to be really slow, and and it can be pretty tedious if your end goal is to beat the game, and it can feel like nails scratching against a chalkboard. But I personally just have a lot of fun with the initial experimenting with the copy abilities that you get, and taking on the really difficult levels. But say you come back a second time and you start the game over, go back to the beginning, the title screen. I don't really know why I have this visual thing going on, but you're here now, you're there, you're at that dot. Now you know a lot more of what to expect, because you've already been all the way around, or maybe even just partially around. You know what to expect for the part that you've been around so far. So it goes a lot faster this time. That's a really small circle. You know which boss to fight first because you know which one you're able to beat with the pea shooter, and you know what ability you're going to get from it, and you know what boss is going to be weak to that ability, so you know what level to go to next. And I feel like this is the most satisfying part of Mega Man, is just like knowing exactly where to go. Like after you remember just how difficult it was for the first time playing through the game, and then like now you're just able to like, you're able to just like fly through these bosses that you had a hard time with before. And you know, every time you play it, you come back and the loop gets shorter and shorter. With Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X, I'm just able to sit down with those games and play them for like one session and beat them in like one go. Like I sat down to play Mega Man X yesterday. It had actually been like a few years since I last played Mega Man X, but everything I just kind of remembered everything, you know, everything clicked back into place. That's like an especially memorable Mega Man game. It just feels really awesome to get good at that one. Another one that I've mastered that feels really good to get good at is Mega Man 04. Mega Man 04 and Mega Man X have the thing in common where like they both have upgrades in them. You can upgrade your health bar and make it a little bit longer. It makes the end game a lot easier to swallow because there's always a boss rush at the end of a Mega Man game. And in classic Mega Man games, when you have the same size health bar that you had when you originally fought the boss masters, it makes it feel like a lot more intimidating knowing that the stakes are the same for your like health, but like you're just fighting all 8 bosses in a row now instead of being able to take breaks in between. But Mega Man X and Mega Man 0, like you can upgrade your health bar and you're pretty much able to fly through the bosses, because not only are you familiar with them now, but Mega Man is like physically stronger now, or 0 if you're playing 0. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to make this video because there's a lot of people that are like intimidated by the difficulty in Mega Man, and it's true that Mega Man's not always all that forgiving, especially like the classic Mega Man games, but it gives you plenty of options, you know, like while you're experimenting with playing the 8 levels that it gives you to start with, it keeps it interesting. You know, you die to one level, you're like, okay, I'll go try a different level, and in this process of experimenting around with these different levels, you also get more familiar with like the controls and like stuff like that. And after having my fair share of Mega Man games that I've just kind of memorized everything about them, it's really fun to go back and like play Mega Man games that I'm really bad at. It kind of reminds me of like where I started with just the Mega Man series altogether. And Mega Man and Bass especially. I mean, that game is all around just like really hard, like really, really hard, but also the controls feel a lot different. So I was like completely relearning Mega Man there, so that was really entertaining. Anyway, I don't really know why I felt inclined to give you this little visual. I don't think I needed to do that. In fact, I have no idea what you got out of this video, but I hope it was entertaining.